the screen door on the deck. Wife had bought a whole stack of these and she said, "Now you can just put one of those on both sides." That's my weatherboards for the end of the deck. Cut, 2 coats prior. Just waiting for that to dry before I can put the finish coat on it, which is a toasted almond, which is the colour we've got on all their weatherboards around the house. I want to try and wire brush this so I can paint it, but I can't wire brush this while they're drying. I've got some other stuff I've got to do. I'd love to know where this guy hangs out most of the time. Little gecko. And he's in behind the door jamb for the laundry. So I saw him on the other side of the wall a couple of weeks ago. Here's our little false wall, I guess you want to call it, just to keep the same look at the very end. There's a little bit of privacy enclosure. That stuff I had left over in my storage. I've just got a little bit left, so I was lucky to get those pieces. And that I had some of the paint left over. So I had this idea to do during first lockdown when we were working from home. I've only just got around to doing it. 2 side straws. See the gaps at the back for cables. But it just means that I can have the keyboard out, and when I don't need the keyboard, that can go under there, and I've got desk space again to sit at, because the rest of my desk space just gets covered in crud. So this is essentially the work laptop setup. Also brings it up to a good height for viewing. That there is the bottom shelf of the old bench, and these things were the only stuff that was holding it together. I thought it might have been glued and I was going to be able to strip it down. Unfortunately, one of these is too narrow to be the top. So I might be able to still use one of those as the bottom shelf, but I'm going to have to use the MDF for the top, because it's the only thing I think I've got here that's big enough and hefty enough to be the top section of the bench. But I think I'll try and trim it so that I get the best bit out of the MDF as I can. no rush. I still need to paint the frame after doing the welding. Damn it! I really want to get this set up. Damn it. That's what happens when you don't pack up properly. I feel like it needs to be right at the front of the bench for the fact that that's got a rotating head. Those three, 13 mil. This one, 9/16. Last thing I want to have is it all unbalanced. I know I'm going to have to make some form of leg. See how when I put this on. The lathe is set up on its bench. When you lock the wheels, I mean there's a bit of a wobble there. if I have the wheels out at each end, there's still a little bit of a rock because, I mean, they're wheels, aren't they? So I think if I ever tried to do a really big bowl, I'd be in trouble, but the handle for here is missing, which I didn't know that. That's one of these little, like, pull and adjust. I could probably buy that as a part because it just needs the little screw spring and handle. And I said this is the bowl that I started working on, which used to be one of my back steps. So I thought I'd try that out. Also means that I should be able to roll this around and get the place sort of set up a little bit better. Put it right up against that bench. If I've got my drill table, I need to get bigger wheels for this and the saw bench. I think I need the big 5-inch high. These are only 40mm wheels. I think those were like, I think they're at 90 to 100mm wheels. If I get that to there, I've got the domino down there from work, so that won't be permanently there. So if I have that's all the way up, almost up to my pop's metal lathe. There's the end of this bench. That's the bench with my pop's lathe on it. That slides in. Again, welder. It's not a permanent thing here. Still have a fair bit of room. Little space that I've got down in here will be for my pop's welder. The pop's welder, I do think I want to try and get into this. The back corner down here, where I've got my compressor. The welder might fit into there. Should actually see if I can wheel this out. The reason I'm thinking if I can get it to go out there is because of the dust. I've got no dust extraction in here. It'd be good to get some dust extraction onto it, but one thing at a time. I've got a lathe. That was easy enough to wheel out a little bit of an issue. That was my concern, that it might be a little bit too weighted toward the front. Just there. I almost lost it. So I need to see if that I was thinking I'd need to be I was thinking that I'd need to be out a fair bit to be able to turn the bowl, but